Hello and welcome to the 250, the podcast where we are mildly confused about the level of technology that aliens have. I'm Douglas, and with me as always is my co-host, Jonathan. How are you, Jonathan?
I'm sitting on the floor.
Oh.
Yep.
Wow, are you like meditating? Were you inspired by PK to meditate?
No.
Oh, okay.
There's lots of people in my apartment right now, and I normally record in the lounge room, but I'm on the floor.
You're bundled up on the floor.
I could be meditating.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
I'm gonna sit up nice and straight and listen to my breathing. Oh, and knock over a bunch of water bottles.
If this is your first time tuning into the 250, we have taken a snapshot of IMDb's top 250 movies of all time as of January 2020, and we have begun watching them from number 250 through to number 1. In this podcast, we discuss our opinions, thoughts, and reactions to the movies within. Today's movie is number 241, PK.
An alien arrives on Earth in order to conduct a research mission but loses the remote to his spaceship to a thief. The alien, referred to as PK, befriends kind-hearted people as he searches to retrieve his remote, questioning religious dogmas and superstition along the way.
This film was directed by Raj Kumar Hirani and was also written by Raj Kumar Hirani and Abhijat Joshi. Forgive me for my pronunciation there if there was anything awry, but...
We got big white, human white...
Anglo-Saxon accent.
White people
vibe.
Mouths. That's
just how I read it phonetically.
Every time we start a podcast and you go, if this is your first time tuning into the 250, I always want to say sorry.
I'm so sorry.
If this is your first time tuning into 250, there are other things that you can be doing, and I wholeheartedly apologize.
Oh, we could, I feel like we could talk about that.
We can. No, literally just...
As a regular?
It's just like...
Or whenever we're just dribbling on for like 15 minutes
Jonathan? That's 2 sentences in, and I'm just like, I'm just going to derail the whole thing if that's okay with you.
Yeah. Well, no, I fed you though. I yes-anded you.
Yeah, I do appreciate that.
It's technically both our faults, but...
So,
and we're doing it right now.
Our pal, Raj Kumar, is... the overarching theme of the film is about religion. Yeah. And that, I gather, is Raj Kumar's kind of... Or is he... Maybe it's just society, but he makes a kind of... His whole shtick to have this character that questions the way society works.
From a childlike kind of perspective, I think was like the big thing, is that he's, so in awe of this world as an alien, and he has all of these questions that, normal people don't take the time to think of, that kind of thing. So
that's I gather that's kind of this guy's shtick. He does a lot of films that are kind of similar in that vein, a lot of reviews, because and we'll dip back into it later, but this is very much a film that probably makes more sense viewed through just an Indian lens.
Yeah.
If you live in India, a lot of the comedy will probably land a lot better, and also a lot of the societal dissections or whatever will probably ring a bit truer to you.
Well, there's just a cultural border, I think, is what you're going for there. And that's, I think with a lot of these foreign films that are popping up in the 250, there is going to be that sometimes we're not going to be able to latch onto it as much as other cultures probably would, is because we haven't lived in that culture. It's not that we have anything wrong with the race or the religion or whatever it is that it's trying to portray. It's just that we haven't experienced that, and that is something that is foreign to us. So, in part, the one thing that I took away from this film is just the amount of things that go on with religion in India, just all of their temples and their practices and everything, just how... I'm sure there were some moments that were dramatized, undoubtedly, but just some of the things there's a section where... they leave all of their shoes outside of the temple before they go in. Mm-hmm. And for me, in my head, I was like, I'd never thought about that. Obviously, they have to go in barefoot, so they've got to put all their shoes out somewhere. And then it just becomes this free-for-all of this shoe fits my shoe, all right, whatever. I can't even imagine that. That sounds so crazy.
Yeah, I guess it's very interesting as a just a different perspective, I guess, for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think I definitely felt that way.
Seeing through the world in a different lens, I think, is... And that's going to happen a lot in the 250, I think, is we're going to have a lot of those moments.
I also feel like we've watched a couple of foreign films now, and this one, it felt like this one had the biggest barrier, like cultural barrier, right?
Yeah. It doesn't feel like the strongest out of all of the ones we've watched, for a variety of reasons.
We'll jump straight into it. Would you recommend the average, let's just say the average Australian, one of our peers watches this film?
PK is a movie that I have watched once, and I'm reasonably happy that I've watched it, but I would not revisit this film. If given the choice, I would not revisit this film. I think I got everything that I needed to get out of it in its 2.5 hour runtime. And
oh, fuck, I forgot about that.
I think that... Yeah, if you're interested in the context and if you're interested in the culture and everything, I would say absolutely go for your life. But yeah, just for me, one viewing was good enough for me. So if it was like my average Joe, my average friend, I would say, nah, you can probably pass on PK.
Yeah, and I think where I'm going with that is that I probably feel about the same, and I don't think it's necessarily a problem of the film. I think it is just... No. It's just because... It's not because, like, I do still have problems with the film's writing and its pacing and a bunch of other stuff. But I think the largest issue that someone in our demographic is going to have with this is just that massive cultural barrier.
Yeah.
And that just makes it very difficult for me to recommend it to anyone.
It makes it very alienating, you could say.
Aha! Yes. Are you proud of yourself? Yeah,
absolutely.
so there was a lot of stuff where it wasn't even stuff like I was sitting there going like, oh, I don't understand this. I haven't had like first person exposure to a lot of the kind of religious and cultural concepts, but I'm aware of the large majority of them. The shoe thing didn't confuse me at all. I've seen that before in some documentaries or something, for example. Sure. So it was never really me going like, I don't get what's going on. It's just like, this feels like it would be more entertaining if I was, living in this culture and
living and breathing it. Yeah.
This contrast between what is happening on the screen and what I see in my everyday life is humorous because of that contrast.
Because you live it. I think almost this just popped into my head, and you can totally correct me if I'm wrong if this is a bit too far of a stretch, but I feel like it's like The Castle for us.
Yeah, shit.
If you were to try and show The Castle to someone who doesn't live in Australia or wasn't, born and raised in Australia, it would probably, there would be some bits where you'd be able to go, oh yeah, I kind of get that, and that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But there would still be that barrier, I guess.
I think that's actually a really good comparison to make, because it's once again, I feel like a lot of people internationally watching The Castle would be able to get their head around what's going on.
For sure.
I don't think they would be that stuck with it, but I think it would not have the same impact on them because of that cultural barrier.
We laugh like crazy at The Castle because we're like, that's totally a thing that happens. That's something that we do. We have that self-reflection kind of thing. And I bet that the same thing would happen for, people watching PK if they live and breathe that culture. Yeah, how about you, Jonathan? What are you thinking?
We both had a bit of trouble with it because of that barrier, basically. And that is, once again, I probably wouldn't recommend my films watch it. My friends watch it. I went to a party the other day and I talked about it and I said, it's fine. But there are other films. We watched a bunch of films recently and I'm like, I would recommend the other ones. But I think, it's very interesting. And because this guy also has put out a lot of films in a similar vein, and I feel like a lot of Indian people know what to expect from him as well, that's got to put a whole nother thing on top of it.
Yes, Rajkumar Hirani is a very, by the sounds of a very prolific director in Bollywood, and the lead actor, Aamir Khan, is also equally as
extremely
renowned.
That's right, I was going to talk about him.
So many credits to his name, it's bloody crazy.
I reckon we jump into spoilers.
Absolutely.
And then we can talk about our boy Aamir. Spoiler siren. Okay.
You said in the last one you said foghorn, and I was really tempted to put in like the
well, I think the sound effect is labeled as a foghorn or something, even though it's like.
Is it? Yeah, it's an air horn.
It's an air horn.
Meow, 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 meow. Yeah.
I'm just dumb. So Aamir, it's like one of the first things. I don't know about you, but one of the first things because PK comes out naked.
Yes.
That dude is fucking ripped.
He's jacked.
He's fucking massive.
Did you buff yourself up for this role, or is that just how he is? Like, dude has chiseled pecs. Like, oh my god.
Which is such an interesting move. I wonder if he was specifically picked for this role because they thought he would suit it well.
Well, I think Rajkumar Hirani and Aamir Khan both have history.
Right.
They have history working together. It's kind of like a Martin Scorsese, Leonardo DiCaprio type of work relationship.
Right.
And Rajkumar Hirani has another film in the 250, which is Three Idiots.
Yes.
And that is also starring Aamir Khan. Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
That was 5 years prior to this film, and allegedly the creation of this film was riding off of the success of Three Idiots.
Yeah, and from the very short skim I've had of that, it seems to be... Obviously, the story is different, but the themes of, like, I don't know, well-meaning idiot isn't the right... Like, a person who asks questions, you know?
Yeah, someone who...
Someone who innocently asks questions, I think, is...
Yes, yeah.
The same kind of concept. But he also does, like, I think he does, like, a bunch of action stuff. This
Aamir Khan, yeah. Well, that would explain his chiseled physique.
It's hilarious because if you jump to his IMDb like personal page, he's ready for some serious business. Very contrasting to his character in this film.
That's how he is in PK. Yeah.
It was an interesting character. It felt, I don't know. It felt the character is very odd. I think first and foremost, he's constantly pulling this wide-eyed like expression.
Yes, he never blinks. I picked that up.
Really?
You could watch any shot. He never blinks.
I did not pick
once
that
in the whole film.
It's an extremely odd choice because it makes it very hard for him to emote.
Yes.
And he's mostly played kind of emotionless, but in the situations where he is supposed to have like some strong emotions, it's hard to kind of pick. You have to work with the context clues, you know?
Yeah.
The things that he's saying and...
I was going to say, I think it's mostly his vocal inflection that gives him his emotion.
Yeah, and the writing, obviously. But yeah.
Yes.
Which was, I don't know, I guess it works to make him feel like an otherworldly being.
I got big Mr. Bean vibes from him.
Yeah.
Like Rowan Atkinson, kind of like he was trying to do a bit of a Rowan Atkinson type deal. I'm not sure if that's entirely correct, but that was just what I was vibing from his performance was, I was just like, this feels very Mr. Bean.
It just kind of felt like a shame. I felt like there might have been a better way to make him seem alien without basically cutting out his ability to emote, because that is an important thing to do. But I guess then that is also something that kind of makes him feel more alien as well.
I guess, the fact that everyone else around him is so facially expressive, and then, he is.
That
may well very be a character choice on Aamir Khan's part to just, how can I make this guy separate from the rest of the people around him and the earthlings, quote unquote. Because he has the appearance of a normal human, but it's how do you make a human look alien?
Those pecs aren't normal human pecs.
Yeah, God. Don't even get me... Don't get me back on it. I'm gushing about his physique, but... What does he do? What's his gym routine? I want to know his diet, gym routine. I want to know his full shtick, and I want to do it.
It sounds like a lot of work.
Must be pumping eggs like crazy.
I feel like that's like the common thing with actors. Is like people are like, how do these actors get so buff? It's like, it's their job.
Yeah, literally. They have, when they're not on set acting, they just go to the gym.
Yeah, exactly.
And they have a PT to, train them there, and then they got, chefs and stuff to do their diet and everything.
Our other key actor, Anushka Sharma, who plays Jagu.
Yes. I
liked her a lot.
So did I. I thought she was a nice little balance in the film.
She seemed very grounded. She does the lion's share of emoting between the two of them. And she had, what was it, like, kind of what drives her, give me, what's the word, Douglas?
Her through line?
A reason for doing the things that she does. What's
her objective?
Whatever. She just seemed really real, which was nice.
Yeah. Yes.
It was. She didn't seem like a caricature.
She didn't seem as explosive as PK, which is very important.
And I think the rest of the characters were, to some degree, obviously to a lesser degree, but were caricature-y to some degree.
The Godman guy was just
there's him,
larger than life.
There's the guy at the police station. There's the guy, the like head journalist at the news station. Was a bit of a character. Singh, the dude that he meets, Singh, right? The guy he meets at the start, Byron.
Yes, correct.
Byron Singh.
Byron Singh. Yeah.
Still felt a bit hammed up. He less so, but and she felt just very kind of normal, which is nice.
I believe Sanjay Dutt is a prolific Indian actor as well. Okay. Just taking a quick peek at his IMDb page. He's currently in filming for 5 separate films. He has just completed 4 other films that are now in post-production.
Yeah.
And he is in pre-production for 2 other films and is confirmed in 4 other films. So, brother's still got a bit of work for him, and he has 167 acting credits. So
his work has a little fucking butt off.
Sanjay Dutt is, he's, what is it from Infernal Affairs? He's the Andrew? Or is he the...
Or is the Andy? He's wait, I can't remember which one's the good one, though.
I can't remember which is which. Hang on. Let me go back to Infernal Affairs.
Are you fucking kidding me? I like his character a lot. He was like this kind of fun, fatherly figure.
He's the Andy.
He's the Andy? Yeah. He was just nice, I think.
A good little cameo.
I really liked his Bollywood, kind of like the musical bit.
Touching on the musical numbers, I was not ready for this movie to be a musical, like for it to have musical numbers in it. And when that first one hit with Jagu and Sarfaraz, I genuinely thought that it was just a montage.
Yeah, me too.
And then the camera cuts to him, and then Sarfaraz you can see him singing it, and I'm like, oh, okay, I guess we're doing this now.
Because the track started playing for a while and his mouth started moving, it cuts to that, and I was like, oh, that's a different person singing. That's not the voice actor.
Yeah. That what the fuck?
Confused the fuck out of me. Or, alternatively, the other bits were recorded on location and this is being recorded in a studio. But it sounds so different that I just assumed it was someone else. And that was weird. And I think I liked them more than I expected. Obviously, being an Indian film, that was just my expectation that there was going to be some musical numbers.
Right.
I think... Because which big ones were there? There's the one big one at the
There's the one with Jagu and Sarfaraz. There's the one with Singh, which I actually super enjoyed because it has some pretty fucking solid choreography and just like the general shot progression and everything was actually pretty fucking solid. And then there's the one that PK and Jagu have that's like No Time for Love or whatever.
What in what context is that again? Is that near the end of the film? It's
basically PK realizing that he's in love with Jagu. And he's like, he's going through all like the water fountain thingies and he's having that daydreamy sequence and everything.
Yeah. Oh, it's just when they're like going around and doing things.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're just hanging out for no particular reason.
Just doing stuff. I don't know.
It's love is a waste of time. That's what it is.
I really liked the one with Singh.
Yeah.
The other ones were fine.
Yeah.
They didn't... I mean, they were kind of just... This is a normal montage-y type song. And then they would cut to the actors and go, oh, they're singing it, supposedly. Which is fine. I didn't have a major issue with it. It didn't blow me off my fucking feet either.
You know what I did have an issue with?
What did you have an issue with, Douglas?
The first about probably 30 minutes of the film when they're still establishing PK as a character, and literally every time you cut to PK, you get ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba, ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba.
Oh my god, I swear to God, I legitimately think that song runs for like 30% of the film, at least. Oh, it's hot, because it plays through most of the fucking, flashback.
And it's right at the forefront too, like in terms of the mixing and everything. It's like right in your ears.
I hated that shit.
Oh god.
It was just like, and it was, I guess it.
My note was, fuck, the soundtrack needs to chill out.
The film just had, like, it went back and forth so much in terms of like, who is the target audience for this?
Yeah.
Like, is this a children's film? Is this a family film? Is this for slightly more mature audiences? Because on one hand, you've got PK does goofy stuff, and there's that fucking, like, made for a children's show
melody
soundtrack bit, like melody, that is fucking insufferable, but would be totally suited to, just like a children's TV show. You got that. But on the other hand, you have such wonderful child-friendly themes as he learns how to speak from a prostitute. He gets all his clothes from people having sex in the back of a car. He takes part in a Muharram flagellation ceremony. And last, but certainly not least, as he's going to meet his friend Singh at the train station, there is a terrorist attack and the train blows up.
That bit comes out of nowhere.
What the fuck was that?
Just like, everything is completely normal. The plot is on track. I'm like, yep, we've got the thief. They're going to bring him over and, that's all going to happen and this is going to go well. And then, the train blows up and it's this out of nowhere sequence. And then you have PK in this montage of him like walking through the rubble.
Stumbling through the rubble, and there's like people with like open wounds and like
there's
corpses
bodies and blood everywhere. What
the fuck?
At that point, I was just baffled. I wrote just before that sequence in my notes. I write, oh, well, this is all rather jovial, isn't it? PK's trying his best to do things right, and this is it's a reasonably powerful message. And then I just write, oh shit.
I had what the fuck in all caps. I don't know. I feel like that's got to be another cultural thing. Like, maybe that kind of concept is not as jarring to people who live in that society,
I guess.
But it was just like, this is like... And even like, I think the dancing cars joke was probably tame enough and made goofy enough that you could pass it off and just go like, this is a joke that the kids won't get, but the parents in the audience will. Until someone, like two people poke their head up, clearly naked, clearly having sex, and like, what's going on? Why'd you take my wallet? And it's just so strange. It's gotta be like a cultural barrier thing, because it was just so fucking weird to me.
There's no way this could be kids as the demographic, so surely it's just... But I think like even the all that shtick is just, it's PK doing jovial things, funny man, like, they're trying to build up that endearing character, I suppose.
Guess so. I'm just checking real quick if there's like anything about ratings or anything.
Right. I think this film suffers very hard from second half syndrome, which is just the first half is like, across the board, it's reasonably strong, and you've got a good premise and everything's kind of chugging along in a nice direction. And then just the second half kicks in, and it is a 2.5 hour long film. So you've gone a fair way to get to the halfway point and then get into the second half. And that second half is just, it feels like a bit of a drag.
I have no idea why it had to be that long. I didn't. If it's made for a younger audience, it should not be longer than 2 hours. You're gonna have your fucking kids getting distracted in the cinema.
Absolutely.
Regardless, like, it was just such a fucking drag.
The jail cell flashback sequence goes for about 40 minutes.
It's like a third of the movie.
By the time you're about maybe 20, 30 minutes into it, you're like, wait, this is still a flashback sequence. We're not back in real time yet. This is things that have happened prior to when the film is set. We're not back in the jail cell yet. And then when it cuts back to that, I'm like, oh yeah, this is where we are.
I had it just jumped so hard into that flashback that I had zero recollection of the film prior to this happening until we got back to the jail cell. I was like, oh my God, that's right. This is what the fuck's happening in this.
And then it almost feels like, is it an editing misstep? Should they have put all of that stuff at the beginning of the film so you could have that build up of PK rather than having a silly flashback sequence about midway through? And then instead of having the flashback sequence, you can have like PK tells Jagu about all of the things that he's done, and then as the camera drifts up into a corner somewhere, and then it has a cross dissolve and drifts back down to them after PK has told the story. I wouldn't have minded that because we've already seen all of the stuff that's happened, and then that makes it like a nice natural time progression.
It wasn't the most egregious way to do it, but I think that you could easily go, okay, first scene, PK shows up. Second scene, or I guess like chapter, whatever, you've got the introduction of Jagu and
Safaraz, yeah.
In Belgium. They do this thing, they have their little montage. You cut back to PK, he has a bit of him learning what's going on. You cut to Jagu with the actual drama between them, and then her moving back. Finalize PK's situation with religion. Cut to Jagu doing her journal stuff, and then they converge there.
Yeah.
And yeah, that would have definitely been better because you're not completely cutting one of the two main characters out of the film for 40 minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
It was an extremely weird choice. And yeah, it's just like, it just completely cut out, and I had just zero recollection until we got back to it. It was just fucking bizarre.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It could have been better. No, I'm not gonna give it the benefit of the doubt. It could have been a lot better. It could have been handled better. I didn't like the pacing of that. And then once you're through all that, it then goes like, okay, now we're gonna like hyper focus on this one thing. You know, it's kind of opened up, and we got to zoom back in on this and spend the second half of the film. The second half of it, might remind you, 2.5 hour film, back on this one thing, and then leading to the conclusion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it could have cut stuff out. It did have, I don't know, are the Indian films this long? Is it not that weird?
3 Idiots is a 3-hour long movie, so...
Oh, fuck off. God fucking damn it. Oh my God. Okay. Isn't that really soon?
No. That's like number 80 something.
Okay. All right.
So we're still a while away from that.
Okay.
You'll have enough time to recover between.
I'll have enough time to forget until it's too late.
Yeah, you'll refresh. Yeah. And then we'll get to it and you'll be like, oh, this is a PK guy.
So maybe it's just a common thing for this style of cinema.
Who knows? Or maybe just this director, even. Maybe he just has trouble putting things on the cutting room floor.
Potentially.
Maybe he just really wants to kind of keep as much content in there as he possibly can.
I am jumping around to other films, like other clearly Indian films that have been recommended by IMDb.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a short. Okay, no, it's a TV show. Okay, that doesn't count. I jumped to Dangal, which is another film with our boy Aamir in it. That's 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Right. So perhaps it is a bit of a common trend then.
Tapad is 2 hours and 22 minutes.
What about some of the other... There's some other Indian films that we've got coming up in this back end of the 250. Oh my God. Lagan, Once Upon a Time in India, which is at 235 in our slot.
Mm-hmm.
It's 3 hours and 44 minutes long.
Oh my God. Okay. It just didn't feel necessary. It felt like you could cut a decent amount of film out without. And there's other films we have. Like, one of my favorite films of all time is Drive.
Mm-hmm.
That is an extremely slow movie, and I think it's It's an hour and 40 minutes.
There you go.
And it's just like, we're going to cool off and like let this breathe. Okay, fine. If it's just the cultural thing, then fine.
Who knows? Who knows? And I think
just got things to do, man.
Yeah, exactly. I think we should probably... I've been thinking about this for the 250. I feel like we should say whether or not we've watched a film before we've watched it.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Whether we have prior experience with this film prior to having to watch it for the 250, or whether we're going in fresh on a movie. I feel like I'm in the same boat as you with big epic movies that, you know, go for 3 hours or 4 hours or whatever it is. I feel like you should be able to tell a story accurately within the 120-minute mark. And if you can't, then there's a fault somewhere in there. Yeah.
I am thinking now, there is The Lord of the Rings. In a semi-regular fashion, will watch all of the extended director's cuts of The Lord of the Rings, they're like 4-hour films.
Yeah, they're intense.
I wonder why that's less egregious to me. I think they're very jam-packed with content.
And I don't know, maybe everything makes more sense, I suppose. Like, the stuff that is included within the film feels appropriately included within the film.
Maybe it'll be less trouble as we get further up and the films get more...
quote-unquote better.
Yeah, more high quality.
Who knows?
Reading around, a lot of people compared PK to... Three Idiots. And one other film that I have forgotten, but in the same vein from the same director, and they were like, this is similar to that, but not as good. Yeah. And that seemed to be the resounding consensus on PK. It's
fine, and it does what it needs to do, but it doesn't recreate the magic of Three Idiots.
So potentially these other films will be more gripping, and it'll be less of an issue. I don't know. That was a big sticking point, and I'm kind of bummed that it seems to be the trend with Indian films.
Yeah.
I didn't even... Well, when we hit the intermission, I was like, oh, God. No. Is that what's happening right now? We hit an intermission and we're like, only like an hour and 15 minutes in? What do you mean?
Yeah. Well, we've got The Irishman, which is Scorsese's film that was released last year on Netflix.
Yeah.
I believe that has a runtime of about 3 hours.
Okay.
So it's not going to be uncommon amongst the 250, I think, where there are going to be movies that are over 3 hours long. But I have seen The Irishman, and I am reasonably pleased that The Irishman is 3 hours long, because I think that everything within that film justifies being in that film, because it is a biography, and, you know, we'll get to it when we get to it. But in a comparison, everything in that film is deserved.
Okay.
Whereas, as you've said before here in PK, I feel like there are some bits in here where you can go like, yeah, maybe some of this could have been left on the cutting room floor.
Yeah. I wasn't thinking about it too much, but just going back over my memory banks, I'm like, there's a lot of stuff that could be trimmed if you wanted to.
Just to, kind of nip and tuck, making things a little bit snappier and...
Just get it under the 2 hour mark. For the love of God, I got things to do.
I got a job, man.
It just didn't feel deserved. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It dragged,
We've been harping on too long about editing. Let's talk about something else. We talked about music. Have we talked about much about like cinematography and things like that?
We haven't, no.
There were some shots in this film that actually really got me, and just like ideas. There's the bit where there's a montage where their family, towards the beginning of the film, and they're talking about their deities. Jagu's doing like a little narration thing about like the little deities that they have and the holiness and all that jazz. And everything is shot in monochrome, but it highlights the color of the deity.
Oh.
And I thought that was a really, really cool idea for a flashback sequence to have everything else in monochrome, but really highlight on the deity, like the little statue that their family has. I'm not sure if you remember that sequence, but... I don't
actually.
It was really solid.
Oh, no. Is this the little figurines that Jagu's family has?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Okay. I remember it. I don't remember it being in black and white.
Jagu has an explanation sequence behind, exposition of what the deities mean to her family and everything.
Yeah.
and talking about, His Holiness or whatever his bloody name is. Yeah, all of that sequence is shot in monochrome, and I was just like, wow, that's nice little bit of clever color grading shtick.
The film was very just colourful as well. I like that a lot. It was super, super interesting just to basically just have like a bunch of really pretty shots of like Delhi and was it New Delhi?
Yeah.
Whichever one. Of India. What were obviously like real places in India on location. I like that a lot. There was just like loads of color with like people with their interesting dress, and like architecture was all very colorful and decorations and things like that.
Costume design across the board was really solid as well. All of the religious attire and everything, I would assume, is completely on brand with each religion.
Looked good to me.
Yeah. All of PK's outfits. PK is always wearing these stupid fitting outfits that just don't, mesh at all, because he's getting all of his clothing out of cars and stuff. I really liked that.
But he's just like, he's so ripped. He's just wearing like these tight polo shirts and stuff.
Yeah, and his arms are just bulging through that. We gotta stop. We gotta stop talking about Aamir Khan's muscles. We should have called this a podcast where we just gush over
this
how
is the muscle cast.
Ripped Aamir Khan is. Yeah, the muscle cast.
Between this and the Terminator.
And the Terminator, yeah, exactly. Oh my god.
Yeah. Whew. I really did like the opening.
Yeah.
The opening scene with Jagu and Sarfraz. It was a little goofy, but still just very fun and very like lighthearted.
Just wholesome. Yeah.
And kind of set the feeling of the film up until the real fucked up shit happens. Would have been nice if that kind of mood had, extended through the whole thing.
Been hinted at a little bit earlier, yeah.
I really liked. I just found that really fun. I found that quite cute. Probably would have worked better if it had been sliced up a bit, but whatever. Oh, my biggest issue, I think, with the film is actually an issue I had with the film was the fact that they decided to make PK and Jagu have this love interest relationship situation. That felt so fucking unnecessary.
It felt pretty forced, but I appreciate that they didn't end up together at the end. And PK fucks off.
But you see, as soon as you get that, they give that hint that he likes her, you're just immediately like, well, this is not going to work out, because they've set up an extremely solid romantic interest for her that she's not just going to drop for this dumb muscle-bound idiot. Like they've led into that. So I didn't buy it for a fucking second.
It seems a bit arbitrary.
And I guess you've got the story bit where he's trying to make her read this note and she sees the business card and gets reminded of Sarfraz, which could have been done another way and was more just like the second step in the Chekhov's gun type situation. They're just like, remember this guy because he's going to come up again in 15 minutes.
He's going to come back at you. Yeah.
Otherwise, it could have been platonic, because they could have ended with this scene where she's like, oh, all the recordings are of me. I'm going to miss you so much. You've been, you really like changed my life. And it did not, I didn't buy it for a fucking second, and it
didn't land,
at all. It just seemed silly. I don't know. I don't know if that.
No, I completely agree with it. I thought, and the bit with the cassettes and everything, I feel like that was supposed to be a big emotional beat for the end of the film, and it just, that didn't get me at all. I was just like, well, what are you gonna do? You little turd, get back in your spaceship and piss off. So mean.
I did like how they resolved all that with her dad. I thought that was
that, and him doing the whistling thing. I was like, okay, that's cute.
Oh my god, that was so nice.
That was cute.
I mean, like, frayed and then repaired parental relationship is not groundbreaking concept for a film, but it was a nice little extra thing to kind of make you feel good at the end.
And it was pretty nicely executed, not gonna lie.
That was executed really well.
Genuinely believe that the dad was like, fucking just hated her, but then they both managed to turn it back around again.
I liked that. And it was, it happened after he took off in the spaceship. So like the whistle thing, and I was like, now some actual like
proper emotion.
I actually feel things now, and like whatever the fuck that was. that was cool. So it's just that could have just been cut. It was just unnecessary. I just like I don't know. I think shit. We didn't even talk about this. This film is marketed as a comedy.
Yes.
Did you find it funny?
No.
Me neither.
Well, I don't know. Maybe I like exhaled through my nose once or twice, but that's about it.
And once again, I mean, I've said this a million times. I recognize that this is probably the large majority of the comedy is based on all these cultural contrasts and stuff. That felt like it was all it was, and I guess maybe some like childish humor. The dancing car concept did make me laugh the first time. I thought that was cute and kind of in like an interesting joke, but I can't think of anything else that I found funny.
Again, I just think it's just jovial. I don't think it's comedic. It's just kind of
But if you go to IMDb, it is a comedy, drama. So that was kind of a letdown. There just didn't seem to be much stuff that wasn't on that cultural lens that was kind of aimed at being a comedy piece. So that was just a bit disappointing, I guess.
Yeah.
It was fine. And it was kind of, I didn't even fucking hate it. Like,
yeah, no, I don't hate this film.
It was an entertaining little romp. It was just like, there was just not enough going on to really drive it through for 3 hours.
I've witnessed it. I'm happy to say I've watched it, but I'm not going back to check this one out.
Sorry,
again.
guys.
Yeah. But hey, would you like to know some trivia, Joe Nathan?
I would love to know some trivia. You beat me to it. I was about to ask.
You're about to segue me into it.
I was, yeah. You pre-segued me.
Well, normally you do segue me into it. I'm sorry, I just kind of stole the reins from you.
Taking the bull by the horns.
The movie released on approximately 3,900 screens in India and 800 screens overseas back in 2014.
Ooh.
So it had a pretty worldwide release, whereas I feel like a lot of films probably have Indian films probably
800 worldwide
stick in India.
Yeah, it doesn't have the same. I mean, it's just kind of a foreign language thing, I guess. But yeah, I think that's probably the case with a lot of stuff that isn't in English. It's generally, I think it seems to go the other way a lot. A lot of English spoken films get translated to other languages, but
yeah, they get dubbed
because the majority of, I'm assuming it's the majority. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I'm assuming the majority of films are English spoken.
Yes.
For people like us, it doesn't feel like there's a need for it. That's a fun thing about this podcast. We're watching all these like foreign language films that we wouldn't have otherwise.
Having said that, ever since Parasite won Best Picture, as well as 10 bajillion other Oscars at the time of recording.
Oh yeah.
I remember not being able to see Parasite like anywhere near my current location, like in the cinemas or anything.
Yeah.
And then ever since it has won all those Oscars, boom, just Parasite everywhere. Like all cinemas are like, you can watch Parasite here like 10 times at any point in our cinema. Like they're fully going back in on it again.
I remember
because it had that amazing win.
We might be in like a cute little, hopefully like a cute little foreign film renaissance soon, because I did see other people on Instagram recommending a bunch of like, here's some other Asian films you should watch, and they brought up cool. In the Mood for Love, which is
great.
It's technically our next film. We have the bonus film, but it's our next film. So I'd really like to see that more. I think it's been really eye-opening. With all the problems I have with this film, the kind of cultural influence is quite interesting. It's pretty valuable.
It's different. It's unique.
Yeah.
Back to some trivia. It was Bollywood's highest grossing film ever.
Wow. Was or is?
Was. Okay. So it held the record for, I don't know how long, probably about all of 3 seconds. And then was taken over, I would say, maybe something else by Rajkumar Hirani or another director. But it ranked as the 70th highest grossing film of 2014 worldwide.
70th?
70th.
Okay.
It was the first Indian film to gross more than 7 billion, I want to say, crores? Crore.
Indian? I thought
crores.
I thought Indians
is that like it's rupees, but then like crores is like a division of rupees. I'm pretty sure.
Indian. I don't know. How do you spell that?
Crore. CRORE.
Oh. Sorry, continue.
Equal to 100 lakh in the Indian numbering system. India has a really odd numbering system. Anyway, yeah, it got 100 million US worldwide, so it did pretty bloody well overseas, which is interesting. Costumes worn by Aamir Khan in the movie are actually collected randomly from the public.
Oh, that's great.
So they didn't have like a wardrobe for Aamir Khan at all. They just grabbed clothes, which I think is on track. Good.
Yeah. It's convincing.
Yeah, exactly. Aamir Khan got nude for the first time in his career for this film.
Oh, wow. What an opportunity. Of all the films you get naked for, this is the one.
This is the one. He was like, you know what? Today's the day. Kicks out of the trailer and just is nothing. There are plans to make a sequel for this movie.
And I will not be watching it.
It'll be a hard skip.
What would they... I don't get... like.
It'll shoot above like Three Idiots. Well, they had the bit at the very end, you know, where he comes back and he's got that other alien with him.
That's your obvious like stepping stone. But what thematically would you do next? Like what?
Yeah, I don't know. Where else is there to go?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know.
The Supreme Court of India rejected the plea made by some Hindu groups to ban PK by stating, quote, "Do not waste the valuable time of the court by applying stupid logic."
Wow. Oh, that's harsh. Holy shit. Boom. Damn.
Supreme Court just dunking on the Hindu groups.
I did see that there was a lot of religious outcry, a lot of general outcry about this film.
Naturally.
And I guess the film's like, I don't know about how you read it. I think a Western person would read it as like the theme of the film going, you know, God, men are bad, so people who are just like abusing religion for money are bad, which I think universally everyone can probably agree with that.
Everyone goes, sure.
But I think it read to me as a kind of universal critique of religion, whereas a lot of reviews from India that I read appeared to read it as this it's not a crazy concept, this concept that all religions are worshipping the same God and the differentiations are made by humans and the problems are made by humans and not by humans, by the divine creator type deal. There's a fucking religious rabbit hole with this one. Let me tell you, that was a massive problem.
I guess it doesn't really matter, but I should say that I'm agnostic, and I don't know where you're at, Jonathan.
I'm all over the place. But yeah, the religious themes were nothing new to me as well. That was another reason why I was very fucking bored by it, because I'm like, these are not crazy concepts to someone who just thinks about the concept of spirituality a lot, just on my own.
Right. So, well, it was different to me, but that's, I think, because I don't have that much upbringing in religion or anything like that. So I was kind of like, it was exploring a bit of a different world for me, which was, interesting. The scene where Aamir Khan pulls out the barber's pajama tuck from between his butt cheeks took almost 12 takes to conclude. I could just imagine, like, they're trying to get the shot. He pulls it out, and they're like, "Oh no!" But put it back, and he's got to like stuff it back in between his butt cheeks. I don't know. That's just a really good image in my head.
That's kind of wonderful.
12 times.
Yeah.
Fucking brilliant.
Sore butt cheeks at the end.
Yeah, exactly. You'll be chafed like crazy. Rajkumar Hirani's apparently a trademark of Rajkumar Hirani is naked men.
Okay, nice.
So maybe we can expect to see some naked dudes in Three Idiots.
Hell yeah. We got the Terminator, we got this, we got more of his films coming up.
We gotta keep a nude dude counter going on here. Ripped nude men counter.
Write it down. Well, okay. Do we have any other ones just so we can start the nude dude counter?
Other counters?
No, other nude dudes from previous films.
Oh, other nude dudes. Oh, I don't think we've had any.
I don't think we have. I think you're right.
Beyond Arnie and Aamir Khan.
Terminator
there
in
wasn't.
this.
Nah.
Nothing in.
Oh, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh,
Chris Pratt.
Was he naked in that scene, or did he have underwear on?
No, the bit where he's in the prison and he's getting like.
Did he have underwear on or no?
I don't think he did.
Oh, nude dude count as a 3.
Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt's one of the nude dudes. He is also ripped. So
he's ripped. So he meets the
criteria. Yeah.
Wow, maybe we should start this. This is pretty good.
I'm starting it. I'm officially writing it down.
Good. Get the nude dude counter going.
PK, nude dude is now 3.
We got to remember that. We got to remember Andrew and Andy as well, because Aamir Khan is definitely. Sorry, not Aamir Khan. Well, I guess Aamir Khan as well. He's an Andy, but Sanjay Dutt, the guy who plays Singh, he's a big Andy.
Hard Andy. He's a hard Andy.
The biggest Andy in this film. We have a email, which is a 250pod@gmail.com.
Interesting one to start with.
TWO. It's at the top of the list.
Okay.
Fucking stab me.
Sorry, I just cut you off.
TWOFIVEOHPOD@gmail.com. You can also find us on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram under the same handle, 250pod. If you just want to keep tabs on the podcast and get notifications on when everything's happening, just suss out the Instagram. You don't really need to have a squeezy anything else. Everything else is kind of optional. We post all of the episodes up on YouTube as well for your listening pleasure. But yeah, Instagram is normally the one to go to if you just want to keep up to date with everything that's happening with us.
Mm-hmm. We are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podcast Addict, Pocket Casts, Google Home, and Amazon Echo. We don't have Google. We don't have Google Podcasts on this. We're on Google Podcasts as well. And Deezer.
We have Google Podcasts.
No, you have Google Home. I'm up there.
Yeah, but no. Are we actually on Google Podcasts?
Yeah. That's how I've been checking it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, far out.
That's fine. Yeah, and Deezer. We're on that as well.
Deezer?
Another
What's Deezer?
app.
Oh.
Yep.
Deezer, sponsor us.
Yeah. Were you about to ask about Podbean?
No.
Okay.
I've let Podbean die.
Me too. You started saying something, I just assumed that's what it was. No, fuck those guys. Sorry, continue.
We have our own personal Letterboxd accounts. Letterboxd is a website for basically grabbing films together, writing down your thoughts and opinions, creating a watch list, keeping track of what films you have watched, when you've watched them, that kind of deal. John and I are both posting up our own reviews on all of the films that we're watching for the 250, as well as any other films that we just kind of stumble across outside of the 250. Mm-hmm. I've been kind of coagulating my own little list as I've been going.
I watched Scott Pilgrim out of sequence like a naughty little boy.
Well, Scott Pilgrim isn't actually in the 250, but
I watched it out of sequence.
We were going to do it for a bonus snub. Yeah. And John has already seen it. So
I'm probably going to watch it a couple of times before we actually watch it for the podcast. So.
There's a lot to unpack in that movie. My Letterboxd account is IENZOKNIGHT. That's Ienzo Knight with a K. If you just type that into the Letterboxd search engine, you'll be able to find me and Jonathan.
Mine is Upa, UUUPAH. And that's 3 U's. I write haiku reviews. I did a bunch of them yesterday.
They're really good.
Thanks, bud.
I saw a big influx of them.
Yeah, I had about 20 minutes to kill. And I was like, I'm just gonna bust these motherfuckers out.
Bust some haikus out.
Bust a fucking move.
And they're all still keeping to the phrasing.
575, yeah.
Of a haiku.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
I need to I was thinking about it, and I think I need to do some studies on actual haikus, because I think that haiku isn't just about the syllables. It's also about just like kind of the way it's structured. So I need to I'm getting way too fucking deep into this. I'm taking this way too seriously.
It's good. Yeah, wasn't the whole bit that you were not taking it seriously, so you're going to write haikus?
Yes.
But now, in doing that, you've really shot yourself in the foot, and you're actually taking it seriously.
I have done that. My life is a nightmare.
Oh, outstanding. I like that role reversal. That makes me happy. Well, thank you for tuning in to the 250 on this egregiously long podcast about PK.
Imagine doing a piece of fucking media for too long. Just imagine.
Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you real soon.
I'm going to take a nap.
Oh, bye-bye.
I'm going to take a nap.
You're going to take a nap?
Yeah, I'm so fatigued from watching this long film.
Fatigue.
Fatigue.
Is that French?
It's not. It means sleepy.
But does it derive from some other language? Okay,
fatigue.
Fatigue. Bye, we're going to look up what fatigue is.
Root. Fatigue.
Fatigue. I just keep on finding safe work, like health and safety things for fatigue.
Fuck, it is French.
Hey!